We love food colored green, bell peppers and long string beans, pickles, celery, cucumbers too. All these foods are good for you.
Welcome to Storytime Cooks, where we learn about food through books. Happy Thanksgiving! And today's story is actually called Thanksgiving by Gail Gibbons. This is a Holiday House publication. In the United States, Thanksgiving is celebrated on the fourth Thursday of November. Thousands of years ago, people had celebrations to give thanks for the bountiful harvest. Egyptians praised their god, Min, the god of plants and fertility. In China, the people honored the moon at harvest time because it appeared to be at its brightest and perfectly round. They baked moon cakes to celebrate the harvest. The Greeks worshiped their goddess of agriculture. The Romans' goddess of agriculture was named Ceres, and they offered the first foods from their harvest to her as thanks. The ancient Jewish harvest festival, called Sukkot, was first celebrated thousands of years ago. The Jews thanked God for his protection and for their food, as they still do today. During the Middle Ages, farmers in England held festivals to celebrate the end of the harvest. Everybody looks like they're having so much fun, don't they? In September of 1620, a group of 101 passengers sailed from Plymouth, England, in search of a new home. These men, women, and children were called pilgrims. They wanted the freedom to worship in their own way, which they had not been allowed to do. They crossed the Atlantic Ocean on a small ship called the Mayflower. Their voyage was difficult. Look at that storm. I wouldn't want to be in that ship. It doesn't look that big, and it looks like it's rocking back and forth. They sailed through many storms. One passenger died, and a baby was born on the ship while they were sailing. At last, after a long voyage, they came ashore at what is now Plymouth, Massachusetts. The pilgrims began to build their homes. When winter came with its cold winds, the pilgrims had little food to eat, and many of them died. They're making houses with grass or thatch on the roof. That looks very different than our houses now. When spring finally arrived, the pilgrims were grateful. Indians taught them how to grow the foods that they themselves ate. They also taught the pilgrims how to be better hunters. During the growing season, the crops grew and grew. The fall harvest was plentiful, and the pilgrims wanted to thank God for the abundance of food that they would have for the coming winter. They're having a big celebration. There was a great feast. The Indians were invited. It was the Pilgrims' first Thanksgiving in the fall of 1621. The first Thanksgiving lasted for 3 days. That would be a lot of celebrating, wouldn't it? And a lot of food. In 1863, President Abraham Lincoln proclaimed the last Thursday of November to be Thanksgiving Day. This was the first nationally declared Thanksgiving Day for the United States. Then in 1939, President Roosevelt made a change and declared Thanksgiving Day to be the fourth Thursday of November. Sometimes there's 4 Thursdays in November, and sometimes there's 5. So instead of it being the last Thursday always, it's always on the 4th Thursday. In many ways, our Thanksgiving celebrations remind us of the Pilgrims' Thanksgiving. There are pumpkins, and we've got our little pumpkin and our turkey, fall leaves, and other symbols gathered together to look like harvest time that we might use to decorate our homes. Look at that house has scarecrows and pumpkins and Indian corn and corn shocks, all kinds of things. Family and friends come together to share good times. It's a time for loving and sharing. Tables are filled with many of the same foods the Pilgrims shared with the Indians. There's turkey and stuffing and cranberries and sweet potatoes. We're going to talk more about those. Beans, squash, cornbread, and all kinds of good things to eat. There's pumpkin pie and mincemeat pie, bread pudding, baked apples, all kinds of treats. Sometimes people send Thanksgiving cards, and they may give plants or flowers when they visit with other people. Thanksgiving is games, and you might be playing in the leaves or playing football or watching football on TV or going to a game. There are plays about pilgrims and the Indians who helped them. And there are parades, there are floats and bands and great big balloons. That would be fun for us to watch on TV. Thanksgiving is sharing, remembering others. Thanksgiving is giving thanks for many blessings, and we do have lots to be thankful for. So today we're going to talk just a little bit about sweet potatoes. And sweet potatoes, just like a regular potato, grow underneath the ground. They grow in the dirt. So that means they are dirty when we get them. We need to make sure that we wash them really well. Sweet potatoes typically are going to be a little bit more orange on the inside. A regular potato is going to be more brown. And it's fun for us to think about that North Carolina actually grows lots of sweet potatoes. And this poster tells all about how those sweet potatoes grow. And we are very lucky that we can have North Carolina sweet potatoes. Even from the grocery store, a lot of our potatoes, sweet potatoes, do come from North Carolina. Today we've got a couple of different little treats. We have a turkey that we made out of some really bright colored red and yellow peppers. I like these little bags of peppers because you get lots of different colors in there and they're a nice size. So we took the yellow pepper and then took a red pepper to make his feathers. And if we put some hummus in there, or even some dressing, that would be a fun snack for little ones or older ones to enjoy. You can dip your peppers in the back of the little turkey and have a yummy treat. And then our little fun piece of pumpkin pie really isn't pumpkin at all. It's a piece of cheese. And we used a triangular cracker for the crust and then a different cracker for the back. And we put it together with some soft cream cheese. So if you want a non-sweet little pretend piece of pumpkin pie, that's a fun way to do it. But pumpkin pie is yummy too. When we think about all these foods, I bet at Thanksgiving we're going to have foods from all the different food groups. So our potatoes are going to be in the vegetable group, along with our peppers. Our cheese is in the dairy group, and our crackers are in this green group. But I bet I might have some apples that would go in that fruit group, and I know I'm going to have some turkey that would go in that protein group. I bet some cranberries would go in that fruit group too. Think about where all your favorite foods go and try to make sure your Thanksgiving plate has something from each of the food group, and actually not just on Thanksgiving. And then remember to give thanks for all the delicious food that we have to eat and all of our many blessings. Thank you for joining us for Storytime Cooks, and we hope you'll come back next time as we continue to learn about food through books.
We love food colored green, bell peppers and long string beans, pickles, celery, cucumbers too.